Denying Khalil's individuality begins with a glance, not a word. Principal Landon's eyes flicker with judgment before she even speaks. Her office is a monument to order certificates in perfect rows, a desk without a single stray piece of paper, and a clock that marks each second with the same cold precision she brings to every decision. Khalil stands in the center, his handmade jacket a burst of color against the beige monotony. He knows what's coming, but he does not shrink. Pen taps the desk, a steady rhythm of disapproval. Third violation this month. "You know the dress code," she says, her tone flat, each syllable a dismissal. Khalil's reply is measured, almost gentle. "It's just fabric, Principal Landon." His calm is not surrender, it's a shield. She leans forward, her fingers steepled. This isn't about creativity, it's about respect for tradition. Her words are sharp, but Khalil's answer is softer, more dangerous. Respect goes both ways. The office staff pretend to be busy, but their eyes betray them. One secretary shuffles papers, she's already sorted, another stares at her, screen unmoving. The room is thick with the unspoken, the weight of a system that punishes difference and rewards compliance. Landon's pen hovers over the suspension slip. The clock's ticking grows louder, filling the space between them. Khalil's fingers trace the stitching on his sleeve, each thread a small act of rebellion. Landon finally signs the slip, her signature pressed deep into the paper. She slides it across the desk, her hand steady but her knuckles pale. Khalil takes it, his grip unshaken. Their eyes meet hers cold, his resolute. For a moment, power hangs in the balance. You'll return in proper attire or don't return at all, Landon says, her voice brittle. Khalil pauses at the door, the slip in his pocket. Maybe the proper thing needs changing. The door closes behind him, soft but final. Landon adjusts her blazer, her fingers trembling just enough to betray her certainty. The staff exhales. The order of the office restored, but something essential has shifted. Khalil's quiet defiance lingers, an echo that refuses to be dismissed. Before the story continues, please let us know from where you are watching this video. Write your city or country in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit like if you believe in stories that challenge injustice. Your engagement gives power to voices that need to be heard. Denying Khalil's place in the school is done with a simple gesturous slip of paper, handed over as if it's nothing. Principal Landon presses her pen to the page with a force that leaves a groove, each letter of her signature a boundary drawn. Khalil stands motionless, his face unreadable, refusing to give her the satisfaction of a reaction. The office is hushed, staff glancing up just long enough to witness the ritual before returning to their screens, pretending not to see Landon. Slides the suspension slip across the desk, her hands steady but her shoulders tense. Khalil accepts it without hesitation, folding it with care before slipping it into his jacket. He doesn't look away, doesn't flinch. His silence is deliberate refusal to plead, to apologize, to shrink. The slip is more than a piece of paper. It's a message, a line drawn in the sand. The staff's eyes flicker with something like regret, or maybe just discomfort. A secretary taps her pen against her notebook, her gaze lingering on Khalil for a moment longer than necessary. "You'll be allowed back when you're ready to follow the rules," Landon says, her voice brittle. Khalil's reply is quiet but unwavering. "I'll be back when the rules make sense." The words hang in the air, heavier than any argument. Landon waits for him to break, to show anger or shame, but he gives her nothing. The office feels smaller, the authority she wields suddenly less certain. As Khalil turns to leave, the slip tucked safely away, Landon's hand lingers on the desk, tracing the groove left by her pen. The staff resumes their routines, but the atmosphere is different, charged, unsettled. The slip remains on the desk for a moment, a symbol of power exercised and dignity withheld. Khalil's footsteps echo down the hall, a quiet protest that refuses to fade. The balance of power has shifted, and everyone in the room feels it. Even if no one will say so out loud, denying Khalil's right to belong doesn't end at the office door. As he steps into the corridor, the slip folded tightly in his hand. The hallway seems to narrow around him. Students pause at their lockers, conversations faltering. Some watch with curiosity, others with a hint of envy or resentment. The banners above, boasting words like excellence and tradition, flutter faintly, their meaning hollowed out by the morning's events. Khalil's stride is even, his head held high. The jacket he wears vivid, carefully glances from every direction. A group of athletes exchange a look, one of them muttering under his breath. A girl from his art class offers a small nod, her eyes flicking to the slip in his hand. The teachers on hall duty keep their distance. One adjusting his tie, another pretending to check her phone. The whispers begin to ripple behind him, not loud enough to be words, but heavy enough to press on his shoulders. Did you see what he wore? He's always pushing it. Wish I had that kind of nerve. Each comment is a thread in a tapestry of quiet judgment and reluctant admiration. Khalil doesn't respond, doesn't break stride. His silence is a shield, his presence a challenge to the rules that tried to erase him. At the far end of the hall, a custodian pauses with her broom, offering Khalil a brief, encouraging smile. He nods in return, the gesture small but grounding. The slip in his pocket is both a warning and a badge evidence of a system that punishes difference, and a reminder that he's still here as Khalil rounds the corner. The whispers fade, replaced by the steady rhythm of his footsteps. The school's grip is visible in every poster, every wary glance, but so is his resolve. The hallway returns to its routine, but something has shifted. Khalil's defiance lingers, a quiet presence that refuses to be swept away. Denying dignity doesn't go unnoticed outside the school doors. As he steps onto the front steps, his friends are already waiting. Jada's arms are crossed, her jaw set hard. Darnell paces, hands shoved deep in his pockets, eyes scanning the faces of students drifting past. There's no need for words at first. The tension is thick enough to feel. Jada is the first to break the quiet. They really suspended you for that? Her voice is sharp, but underneath is something softer worry and pride tangled together. Khalil shrugs, the slip still tucked in his jacket. Said, I was making a scene. Darnell stops pacing and looks Khalil up and down, shaking his head. You're not the problem, man. They just can't handle something different. Other friends gather, forming a loose circle around Khalil. Some mutter about how unfair it is, others just stand close, a silent show of support. One friend, Marcus, offers a fist bump. You know you're not alone, right? Khalil nods, a small smile breaking through. The group's presence is a shield, their anger a quiet fire. A teacher steps outside, glancing at the group before turning away, pretending not to notice. Jada's fists clench tighter. They want us to just blend in, keep our heads down. Darnell's voice is low but steady. Not today. The group falls into a quiet rhythm. Their loyalty, unspoken but unmistakable. Khalil looks at each of them, gratitude flickering in his eyes. Thanks for having my back. Jada bumps his shoulder. Always, the others nod, their faces set. With determination, the morning sun catches the colors of Khalil's jacket, making it stand out even more. As the bell rings, the group disperses, but their unity remains. Khalil watches his friends head inside, feeling the weight of their support. The injustice stings, but loyalty softens the blow. For the first time that day, Khalil feels seen not by the system, but by the people who matter most. Denying Khalil's hope is impossible once he sits on the school steps, the morning sun warming his back. He pulls out his sketchbook, flipping past old designs until he finds a blank page. The suspension slip peeks from his jacket pocket, a reminder of what he's up against, but he doesn't let it define him. Jada settles beside him, her knees pulled to her chest. You really gonna let them win? She asks quietly. Khalil shakes his head, pencil already moving. Not a chance. Darnell drops his backpack on the concrete, crouching down to watch. What are you drawing? Khalil glances up, a hint of a smile on his lips, something they can't erase. The lines come quickly bold, sweeping, full of energy. Each stroke is a refusal to shrink, a statement that he's still here, still creating. Marcus leans over, shading his eyes. That's fire, man. You should show these to everyone. Khalil hesitates, then shrugs. Maybe, or maybe I just need to finish them first. A few other students drift by, some curious, some pretending not to notice. One pauses, watching Khalil's hand move, then offers a shy thumbs up before hurrying away. The group falls into an easy silence, the kind that says everything without a word. Jada plucks a blade of grass, twisting it between her fingers. No, you're starting something, even if it's just with a pencil. Khalil's pencil pauses. He looks at his friends, then at the school behind them. I just want it to mean something, not just for me. Darnell grins. It already does. The sun climbs higher, casting long shadows across the steps. Khalil closes his sketchbook, the new drawing safe inside, as the group stands to leave. Khalil tucks the sketchbook under his arm. The future is uncertain, but hope flickers quiet, persistent, impossible to deny. With every line he draws, claims a little more space for himself, and for everyone who's ever been told to fade into the background. Denying history is easy until the evidence stares you down from the walls. Khalil walks the corridor, his eyes tracing the rows of yearbook photos. Faces from decades past look out, some smiling, some wary. He notices the pattern. The students disciplined most often look like him. The realization settles heavy in his chest. A teacher wheels a cart past, pausing to straighten a crooked frame. She glances at Khalil, then at the photos. You ever notice how the same kids show up in these files? She murmurs, almost to herself. Khalil nods, his gaze lingering on a black and white image of a boy with defiant eyes. Yeah, I noticed. Down the hall, a stack of old disciplinary records sits on a table, waiting to be filed away. Khalil flips through a few, the names familiar: cousins, neighbors, friends. Each entry is short: dress code violation, disruptive attire. The language is clinical, but the message is clear. The system has always found ways to single out differences. A group of students gathers near the trophy case, laughing. One of them, a girl in a bright scarf, catches Khalil's eye and gives a small, knowing nod. He returns it, understanding passing between them without a word. The hallway feels colder, the fluorescent lights harsher, as Khalil moves on. At the end of the corridor, a custodian polishes the floor, humming softly. She glances up, her expression kind. Some things don't change unless you make them, she says, her voice gentle but firm. Khalil tucks the records back into the stack, the weight of history pressing down, but not crushing him. He walks away, the echo of the past following but not defining his steps. The walls hold stories, some painful, some proud. Khalil knows he's not alone in carrying them. Today, he's determined to add a new chapter, one where patterns are broken and every face matters. Denying the struggle of teachers is easy when their words stay sealed in envelopes. In the main office, a letter sits unopened on Principal Landon's desk. The return address is familiar: Ms. Ramirez, a veteran teacher known for her patience and her quiet, steady presence in the classroom. The envelope is thick, the handwriting neat but pressed hard into the paper. Landon glances at the letter, then moves it aside, reaching for her coffee instead. She doesn't read it. In the staff lounge, whispers ripple as word spreads. Did you hear? Ramirez is leaving. A younger teacher, Mr. Chen, shakes his head, his voice low. She's been here longer than anyone. Why now? A substitute shrugs, eyes darting to the clock. Maybe she just got tired. Ms. Ramirez sits at her desk for the last time, packing up lesson plans and a framed photo of her first class. Her resignation letter, written late at night, details years of frustration, students punished for how they looked, not what they did. Complaints dismissed, promises broken. She doesn't raise her voice. She never has. Her protest is leaving. A student knocks on her door, holding a stack of graded papers. You're really going? He asks, voice barely above a whisper. Ramirez smiles gently, smoothing his hair. Sometimes you have to step away so people notice what's missing. The student nods, shoulders slumping. Back in the office. Landon files the letter without reading it, her face unreadable. The staff lounge is quieter than usual, the absence of Ramirez felt in every corner. Teachers linger over their coffee, glancing at the empty chair she always filled. No one says much, but the loss is real. As Ramirez walks out for the last time, she pauses at the door, looking back at the building. She leaves without fanfare, but her absence is a message. Sometimes the loudest protest is simply walking away. The pattern becomes impossible when the evidence piles up on a counselor's desk. Ms. Fields sorts through a stack of referral slips, each one bearing a familiar name. Her fingers hesitate over the next sheet, lips pressing into a thin line. She glances at the clock, then at the door, as if expecting someone to interrupt her routine with something different. Across the desk, Mr. Chen drops off another slip. "It's always the same kids," he says, voice weary. Ms. Fields nods, her eyes tired. "I know, I wish it wasn't." Their exchange is brief, but the weight of it lingers. The office is filled with the quiet shuffling of papers, the hum of a printer, the occasional cough from the hallway. Each sound underscores the routine. The way these names circulate like a secret, everyone knows but no one challenges. A student waits outside, shifting from foot to foot, glancing at the clock. Inside, Ms. Fields writes a note in the margin of, "A referral needs support, not punishment." She sighs, closing her eyes for a moment. The names on her desk are more than statistics. They're kids she's seen grow up, kids she's watched struggle under rules that never seem to bend. Mr. Chen lingers, tapping his fingers on the edge of the desk. "You ever think about saying something?" Ms. Fields looks up, her expression resigned. "All the time, but who listens?" He shrugs, then leaves, the door closing softly behind him. The student finally enters, head down, hands stuffed in his pockets. Ms. Fields greets him with a small smile, pushing the referral slips aside. "Let's just talk today," she says. Voice gentle, the student nods, relief flickering in his eyes. As the day goes on, the stack of slips grows. Ms. Fields keeps writing notes, hoping someone will read between the lines. The cycle continues. But so does her quiet resistance or refusal to let these kids become just another name in the pile. Denying Khalil's creativity is impossible within the walls of his home. The kitchen table is covered in fabric scraps and sketches, each one a quiet act of rebellion against the rules waiting for him at school. His mother stands by the counter, eyes filled with both pride and worry. Watching him move his pencil across the page with steady intent, she reaches over, smoothing a stray thread on his latest design. "Your gift is bigger than their rules," she says, her voice gentle but unwavering. Khalil looks up, meeting her gaze, and draws strength from her belief. The room is filled with a warmth that stands in stark contrast to the cold judgment he faces beyond their door. He traces the lines of his sketch, each stroke a promise to himself. "I just want to be seen," he admits, voice low but resolute. His mother's smile is quiet but fierce. "And you will be," she replies, her conviction a shield against doubt. The kitchen clock marks time, steady and unhurried, as if giving Khalil space to dream. Jada's voice cuts through the quiet, her words a spark. "You've got something they can't touch." Khalil nods, eyes never leaving the page. "It's not just about me, it's about all of us." His mother's gaze softens, pride mingling with concern. "Keep pushing, they'll have to listen eventually." The kitchen light flickers briefly, a subtle reminder of the unpredictable world outside. Khalil's pencil moves with renewed purpose, each line a step toward change, each shade a refusal to fade. The room holds its breath, the quiet determination, stronger than any rule written outside these walls. Outside, the city hums a reminder that the fight is bigger than this kitchen. Khalil's mother smooths the tablecloth, her movements deliberate, a quiet strength in the face of uncertainty. "We're with you," Jada says, her voice steady. Khalil looks up, gratitude flickering in his eyes. The sketches lie open, a silent promise of change waiting to unfold. The scene closes on the trio, bound by hope and resolve, ready for whatever comes next. Denying Khalil's talent is impossible in the safety of his room, where his friends gather in a loose circle, sketchbook pages spread across the bed. The walls are covered in old drawings, magazine cutouts, and pinned bits of fabric, each one a piece of his story, each one a reason to keep going. Jada flips through the latest designs, her eyes wide. "You have to show these. Khalil, people need to see what you can do." Khalil shrugs, uncertainty flickering in his expression. "What if nobody cares?" Marcus leans against the window, arms crossed, a grin tugging at his lips. "They will. You're different." That's what scares them. The group's energy fills the room, a mix of encouragement and challenge. Darnell taps a sketch with his finger. "Post-it. What's the worst that could happen?" Khalil hesitates, glancing at the stack of suspension slips tucked in a drawer. I don't want to give them another reason." Jada's voice softens. "You're not giving them anything? You're giving us something." A younger friend, Samira, picks up a scrap of fabric, holding it to the light. My little brother talks about your jackets all the time, she says, shy but sincere. He wants to be like you. Khalil's eyes meet hers, something shifting. In his posture, maybe I'll post one, he concedes, a small smile breaking through. The group exchanges glances, a sense of victory in the air. Jada snaps a photo of the sketches, ready to share them with the world. You're starting something, Khalil. Don't let them stop you before you even begin. The words hang in the room, charged with hope and a little fear as the evening fades. The friends drift out, leaving Khalil alone with his thoughts and his art. He sits on the edge of his bed, sketchbook open, the weight of possibility pressing. In night, the world feels a little bigger in his place in it, a little more certain. The denial of their voices ends the moment the group chat lights up. Phone screens glowing in dark rooms across the city. Khalil sits cross-legged on his bed, thumb hovering over the keyboard. Jada's message pops up first, fast and sure. We're making a statement, no more hiding. Marcus jumps in with a fist emoji, his confidence infectious. They won't. No, it hit them. Khalil hesitates, typing and deleting, nerves twisting in his stomach. What if they try to shut us down? The reply is instant. Darnell's words pulse on the screen. Then we get louder, but with style. The chat explodes with images of Khalil's sketches, each design a little bolder than the last. They debate colors, patterns, how to stand out without saying a word. Every message is a spark. Every like a promise, Samira sends a selfie draped in one of Khalil's scarves, grinning, "We're all in. Even my little brother's got his ready." Khalil smiles, the knot in his chest loosening just a bit. Joda types, "This is more than clothes, it's us." The group agrees. Tomorrow, everyone wears Khalil's designs. A silent protest, a wall of color in the halls. A challenge to the rules that tried to erase them. A memory flickers Khalil's art teacher, voiced low. "You're pushing boundaries too far." But here, in the safety of friends and shared purpose, that warning loses its power. The chat is a lifeline, a place where fear turns into resolve. As midnight approaches, the message is slow, replaced by a steady current of anticipation. Jada's final words ring out. Tomorrow, we change the halls. Khalil leans back, letting the weight of worry give way to a quiet fire. The group chat falls silent. But the movement it started is just beginning. Denying their presence becomes impossible the moment the first bell rings. Khalil steps into the building, head high, his jacket a blaze of color against the drab walls. He's not alone. All around him, classmates appear scarves, shirts, skirts, and hats, each piece a tribute to his designs. The hallways, once muted, now pulse with bold patterns and unexpected brightness. Jada appears at his side, her earrings matching the print on her blouse. She grins, nudging Khalil. "Told you we'd make them look." Marcus strolls past, hands in his pockets, his custom vest impossible to miss. "They can't write us all up," he says, voice low but sure. Darnell leans against a locker, nodding at each new arrival. "It's working," he murmurs, pride flickering in his eyes. Teachers stand by their doors, some frowning, others unable to hide a smile. Ms. Field, the counselor, offers a subtle thumbs up as Khalil passes. Mr. Chen, usually quick to enforce the rules, hesitates, his gaze lingering on the wave of color before quietly stepping aside. The tension is real. But so is the sense of community. Each student in Khalil's designs is a brushstroke in a living mural of resistance. A group of younger students trails behind, their laughter rising above the usual shuffle of feet. One girl twirls, her skirt spinning out like a flag. Khalil catches her eye, and she beams, unafraid. The whispers that once followed him are now replaced by awe and a hint of envy. As the morning unfolds, the administration scrambles, unsure how to respond. The principal's voice crackles over the intercom, but the students don't flinch. They walk to class, shoulders squared, their unity louder than any announcement. By lunchtime, the halls have changed. What started as a protest has become a celebration of identity, of courage, of refusing to disappear. Khalil glances around, hope swelling in his chest. Today, the halls belong to them. Denying the shift in power is impossible once the staff room fills with uneasy energy. Teachers gather around the coffee maker, mugs in hand, eyes darting between the door and the window. The morning's protest is the only topic, though no one says the word protest. Instead, they talk about disruption, dress code, and school spirit, each phrase a shield for their own uncertainty. Mr. Chen stands near the window, watching students in bright patterns walk by. He clears his throat, voice low. They're not breaking anything, just changing the view. Ms. Fields sips her tea, her approval clear in the way she smiles at her mug. It's creative. Maybe it's what we need. Across the room, Ms. Parker, always strict, shakes her head. They're testing limits. Someone needs to step in. A substitute teacher, new to the school, looks from face to face, unsure which side to join. Is this normal here? She asks, voice tentative. Mr. Chen shrugs, a small, almost hopeful smile tugging at his lips. Maybe it should be. Room splits. Some teachers nod, others frown. A few retreating behind newspapers or grating. The tension thickens as the principal's assistant enters. Clipboard in hand, eyes scanning for allies. She whispers to Ms. Parker, who nods, lips pressed thin. Ms. Fields slips a folded note to Khalil as he passes the open door. You look good, don't stop. He nods, gratitude flickering across his face before he disappears down the hall. The bell rings, scattering the staff to their duties, but the divide lingers. Some leave with a new sense of possibility, others with suspicion hardening in their eyes. The old order feels fragile, the rules less certain. In the quiet that follows, the staff room is no longer a refugiates, a battleground for what comes next. Denying the impact of resistance is impossible when the principal's desk overflows with referral slips, each one a quiet act of defiance. Landon's pen moves quickly, her frustration showing in the sharp angles of her signature. Every slip is a reminder of the system's urge to reassert control, a silent counter to the students' growing confidence. The stack grows taller by the hour, a paper wall between authority and change. Khalil stands just outside the office, watching the ritual unfold. His face is calm, his posture unyielding. Teachers pass in the hallway, some avoid his eyes. Others offer small nods of encouragement. The tension between those who enforce the rules and those who question them is thick, almost tangible. Darnell catches Khalil's gaze, muttering, "They're scared. That's why they're writing us up." Inside the office, a secretary taps. Her fingers on the desk, glancing nervously at the pile of slips. Another staff member adjusts her glasses, her eyes flickering with uncertainty. The usual routine is gone, replaced by an undercurrent of anxiety. Landon's voice breaks the quiet. "These referrals are necessary," she insists, her tone tight. "We can't let this get out of hand." The staff exchange glances, doubt settling in the spaces between them. The referrals are more than just paper. They're meant to intimidate, to erase the momentum of the protest. But each new slip only strengthens the students' resolve. Khalil refuses to be rattled. He knows what's at stake, and so do his friends. The balance of power is shifting, not with noise, but with steady, determined resistance. As Khalil walks away, the sound of Landon's pen scratching across another slip follows him down the hall. It's a reminder that the struggle isn't over. The system pushes back. But so does the will of those who refuse to be written out of their own story. Denying the movement's reach becomes impossible when a single photo sweeps across the internet. The shot is candid Khalil and his friends in the hallway. Their clothes, a riot of color, faces set with quiet determination. Someone posts it with a simple caption. This is what courage looks like. Within hours, likes and shares multiply. Comments pouring in from every corner, some supportive, some angry, all paying attention. Jada sees the post first, her phone buzzing nonstop. "We're everywhere," she whispers, awe and fear mingling in her voice. Marcus grins, holding his screen up for Khalil to see. "You're a famous man." They can't ignore this. Khalil studies the image, a mix of pride and anxiety flickering. Across his features, it's not just me, it's all of us. Teachers gather in the staff room, scrolling through the feed. Ms. Fields smiles, hope shining in her eyes. Maybe now they'll listen. Mr. Chen nods, but Ms. Parker frowns, her jaw tight. This is out of control. The principal's office is tense. Landon's phone rings with calls from the district, her inbox filling with questions she can't easily answer. Outside, students cluster in groups, phones in hand, watching the story unfold in real time. Some are emboldened, others wary, but the sense of change is unmistakable. Even those who never spoke up before now feel the shift. The school's reputation, once a private matter, is now public property. Khalil's mother sees the photo on her lunch break, tears welling in her eyes. She texts him, "I'm proud of you." He reads it, heart pounding, the weight of the moment settling in. The world is watching, and for the first time, their story can't be pushed aside. As the sun sets, the photo continues to spread. The halls of the school feel different, charged with possibility, with risk, with hope. Khalil stands a little taller, knowing that what began as a quiet protest is now a conversation no one can escape. Denying the crisis is impossible once the boardroom fills with anxious faces and restless hands. The superintendent sits at the head of the table, scrolling through the viral photo on his phone. Principal Landon sits rigid, her jaw clenched, eyes fixed on the polished surface in front of her. Board members shuffle papers, some whispering, others exchanging uneasy glances. A senior member clears his throat, voice tight. "This is bad for our image. The district's getting calls." Another younger member leans forward, her tone sharper. "It's worse for our students. Are we going to pretend this isn't about them?" The room falls quiet, the question hanging in the air, heavy and unresolved. Landon tries to steady her voice. "We have policies for a reason. If we bend now, we lose control." The superintendent's gaze is unreadable. Maybe control isn't the point anymore. The tension is thick, even the air feels heavy. A secretary at the corner of the room fidgets with her pen, eyes darting between speakers, unsure where to land. Mr. Chen, invited to represent faculty, speaks up, his words careful but clear. The kids aren't trying to break the school. They're asking to be seen. The older board member sighs, rubbing his temples. "We can't afford more bad press." The younger member shakes her head. "We can't afford to keep losing trust." Outside the glass walls, students gather with signs, their voices muffled but determined. The boardroom's hush is pierced by a distant chant, a reminder that the world outside won't wait for consensus. Landon's hands tighten around her notebook, knuckles white. The superintendent finally speaks. "We need a solution that isn't just about saving face." The board nods, some reluctantly, others with hope. The meeting adjourns, but no one leaves quickly. The old order feels brittle. Integrity and image stand at war, and the outcome is far from certain. Denying the shift in the air is impossible as the gym fills beyond capacity. Every seat claimed, students pressed shoulder to shoulder. The banners overhead looked faded now, almost out of place amid the buzz of expectation. Khalil sits in the front row, his sketchbook balanced on his lap, friends close on either side. The principal approaches the podium, her steps measured, face composed but drawn tight at the edges. She begins, voice clear but brittle. "We are here to restore order." The words land flat, met with a ripple of glances and a few raised eyebrows. Jada leans over, whispering, "They still don't get it." Khalil doesn't answer, his eyes fixed on the stage, fingers drumming a quiet rhythm on his sketchbook. The board chair stands, clearing his throat. "We're announcing a contest for new uniforms designed by our students." A hush falls. Some students exchange skeptical looks. Others sit up straighter, hope flickering in their expressions. Darnell nudges Khalil. "This is you, man." When Khalil's name is called, he rises, steady and unhurried. The gym quiets, the only sound is his footsteps on the polished floor. He reaches the microphone, unrolls his designs, and holds them. High, the images are bold, a blend of tradition and something definitely new. A gasp escapes from somewhere in the crowd. A teacher dabs at her eyes, moving despite herself. Khalil's voice is calm, every word deliberate. Order without respect isn't order at all. The principal's posture falters, her mask slipping for just a moment. The board votes hands raised, the outcome clear. Khalil's designs win, the decision met with a wave of applause that shakes the banners overhead. Landon extends a handshake, her grip limp, eyes averted. Khalil's hand is steady, his gaze unwavering. As the cheers rise, Landon slips backstage, shoulders sagging. Her reflection fractured in a locker's metal door. The assembly disperses slowly. Students lingering changed. Khalil returns to his seat, the future uncertain but charged with hope. The awakening is quiet, but it's real, and it's just begun. The gym lights hum overhead, casting long shadows across rows of students packed shoulder to shoulder. Principal Landon stands at the podium, her navy suit severe against the pale backdrop. She adjusts the microphone, fingers trembling just enough to betray her nerves. A brittle smile fixed on her lips. The air is thick with anticipation. Seat filled, every eye watching, students shift in their chairs. The sound of notebooks closing and sneakers scuffing the floor echoing in the hush. Whispers ripple through the crowd, a low current of skepticism and hope. Khalil sits front and center, sketchbook open, his fingers tapping a steady rhythm against the cover. His gaze is steady, his presence quiet but undeniable. Landon clears, her throat, her voice catching as she begins. "Welcome everyone. Today marks a new chapter." The words falter, swallowed by the weight in the room. Camera flashes punctuate the silence, capturing every flicker of uncertainty on her face. In the back row, a teacher glances at a colleague, lips pressed thin, their shared doubt unspoken. A student leans forward, eyes narrowed, searching the stage for some sign of real change. The gym feels suspended between what was and what could. B. Landon's smile fades as she scans the audience, the old order trembling beneath the surface. Her posture stiffens, but her authority wavers. Exposed in the way she clutches the edge of the podium, Khalil's calm is a counterpoint to the tension swirling around him. He doesn't need to speak. His presence alone is a challenge. The principal's mask cracks, just for a moment, as she realizes the crowd is not with her there, waiting for something more. A microphone picks up a faint cough, breaking the spell. The assembly is no longer routine. It's a reckoning. Every silence is loaded, every glance a verdict. The camera lingers on Landon's face, her composure slipping as the crowd waits for what will come next. The tension in the gym sharpens as the board chair steps forward. His suit-crisp voice, measured to sound reassuring. He surveys the crowd, careful not to linger too long on any one face. "Today, we're offering a new beginning," he announces, his words floating above the restless audience. "A design contest for our next school uniform open to every student." A murmur sweeps through the bleachers. Some students exchange skeptical glances, others lean in, curiosity piqued. Khalil's friends nudge him, their excitement barely contained. Jada whispers, "This is your shot." Khalil keeps his expression neutral, but his grip tightens on his sketchbook. Principal Landon stands off to the side, her smile stretched thin. She nods along with the chair's speech, but her eyes betray unease. The offer is meant to pacify, to shift the focus from protest to participation. Yet, beneath the surface, everyone senses the move is more about control than real change. A teacher in the front row raises an eyebrow, jotting something in her notebook. "A contest," she mutters to her neighbor. That's their answer. The board chair continues, "We want to honor tradition while embracing student voices." His tone is practiced, but the words feel hollow. Khalil glances at his friends, then at the stage. Darnell leans over, voice low. "They're trying to calm the storm. Don't let them." Khalil nods, determination flickering in his eyes. The crowd's energy shifts, hope and suspicion mingling as the announcement settles in. The chair wraps up, inviting submissions and promising a fair vote. The principal claps, her applause stiff, echoing off the gym walls. Khalil's friends rally. Around him, encouragement in their eyes. The contest is a bandage, not a cure. But it's a chance, a sliver of opportunity in a room still thick with doubt. As the assembly disperses, the challenge hangs in the air. The storm hasn't passed. It's just been given a new name, the gym. Falls into a hush as Khalil's name is called. He rises slowly, sketchbook in hand, the weight of every glance pressing on his shoulders. Each step toward the stage is deliberate, sneakers squeaking against the polished floor. The crowd parts with a mixture of anticipation and uncertainty. The silence thick enough to feel. Jada squeezes his arm before he leaves the row, her eyes fierce with encouragement. Darnell nods, lips pressed together, pride and worry mingling. In his gaze, Khalil keeps his head high, refusing to shrink beneath the scrutiny. On the stage, the board chair offers a polite nod, stepping aside. Principal Landon stands rigid, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles pale. Khalil pauses at the microphone, taking in the sea of faces, some hopeful, some wary, all waiting for him to speak. He doesn't rush. Instead, he opens his sketchbook, holding it up for all to see. The gym is so quiet that the rustle of paper is loud. A teacher in the front row leans forward, glasses slipping down her nose, curiosity written across her face. Khalil's voice is steady, but every word lands with weight. These designs aren't just clothes, they're a way to belong. For everyone, the crowd listens, breaths held, the usual chatter replaced by something deeper, respect. Landon's jaw tightens, her composure cracking as Khalil's confidence grows. A student in the back starts to clap, hesitant at first, then joined by others. The applause spreads, not wild but sincere recognition of the moment's gravity. Khalil meets Landon's eyes for a brief second, her authority wavering. Under his calm, he steps back, letting the designs speak for themselves. The silence that follows is different, no longer oppressive, but full of possibility. Khalil returns to his seat, shoulders lighter, the gym forever changed by the sound of his quiet courage. The gym holds its breath as Khalil stands at the center of the stage, sketchbook open and every eye fixed on him. He lifts the first design high, the paper trembling only slightly in his grasp. The colors are bold, the lines sharp, a blend of school tradition and something unmistakably new. The crowd leans in, drawn by the unexpected beauty. A ripple moves through the students as the second design is revealed. A jacket that echoes the school's colors, but with patterns inspired by Khalil's heritage. A girl in the front row gasps, her hand flying to her mouth. A teacher blinks back tears, moved by the dignity sewn into every detail. Even the skeptical board members shift in their seats. Caught off guard by the vision before them, Khalil's voice is quiet but firm. We deserve to be seen as we are, not just as names on a list, but as people who belong here. The words settle over the room, heavier than any rule or reprimand. Principal Landon's expression freezes, her practiced smile faltering. She glances at the board chair, searching for reassurance and finding none. A student stands, clapping slowly, then another, until the applause builds steady, genuine, unstoppable. The sound fills the gym, echoing off the walls and banners. Khalil lowers the sketchbook, his face flushed with relief and pride. The teachers exchange glances, some nodding, others simply stunned. Landon tries to recover, stepping forward with a stiff smile. "Thank you, Khalil. These are impressive." Her words are strained, the compliment forced. Khalil simply nods, letting the designs speak louder than any praise she can muster. As the applause fades, the mood in the gym is transformed. The old order has cracked, replaced by something vibrant and real. Khalil steps down from the stage, the path behind him brighter than before, his vision now a part of the school's story. Principal Landon stands just off stage, hands clasped tight as Khalil's designs are met with applause that refuses to die down. Her smile, practiced for years, falters at the edges. She tries to maintain composure, but her eyes dart from the cheering students to the board members, searching for a lifeline. None is offered. She forces her lips into a tight curve, but her jaw clenches, betraying the effort. A bead of sweat slips down her temple, unnoticed by all but the closest teacher, who looks away out of discomfort. Landon's fingers dig into her palm, knuckles whitening as she watches Khalil accept quiet congratulations from his friends. The power she once wielded in this room has shifted, and she feels it in the way the applause rolls past her, unacknowledged. A board member leans over, voice low. The students are with him. Landon nods stiffly, her throat dry. She tries to swallow, but the gesture is awkward. Her authority suddenly fragile. The superintendent catches her eye. His look unreadable, no comfort, no support, just the weight of expectation. A student in the front row glances back at her, not with fear, but with a kind of pity. Landon's mask slips further, her posture sagging as she realizes the crowd is no longer hers to command. She smooths her skirt, a nervous gesture she can't quite control, and steps back from the spotlight. The applause finally fades, replaced by a low buzz of excitement and hope. Landon stands alone, her presence diminished, her confidence eroded by a moment she cannot undo. She watches Khalil return to his seat, surrounded by friends. His victory, quiet but absolute. For the first time, Landon feels the cost of holding on too tightly. The room has changed, and she is left on the outside, her mask cracked beyond repair. The gym's energy shifts as the board chair calls for a vote. Board members exchange glances, some anxious, others resolute. The superintendent clears his throat, signaling the moment is at hand. Khalil sits quietly, hands folded in his lap, eyes steady on the row of adults who hold the future in their raised hands. The chair's voice is formal, all in favor of adopting the student designs. A pause, one hand goes up, then another, then a third. The room holds its breath. Principal Landon's jaw tightens, her hand remaining firmly in her lap, knuckles pressed white against her skirt. The last board member hesitates, then slowly lifts her hand. The motion is small, but in that instant, the balance tips. A ripple of relief spreads through the students. Jada squeezes Khalil's shoulder, her smile wide and unguarded. Darnell lets out a quiet, triumphant laugh. Teachers in the front row exchange nods, some with tears in their eyes. The old guard sits rigid, their authority slipping away with every hand that stays down. Landon looks away, her face unreadable, shoulders set in defeat. The superintendent announces, the motion passes. The words echo, final and irreversible. The students erupt in applause, the sound swelling and filling every corner of the gym. A teacher leans over to a colleague, whispering, "It's about time." The board chair offers Khalil a nod of respect, acknowledging the shift that has just taken place. The new designs are no longer just sketches, they're the future, chosen by the very people they were meant to represent. As the applause fades, Khalil stands, accepting the moment with quiet dignity. The board members gather their papers, some smiling, others subdued, all changed by what they've witnessed. The gym is no longer just a place for assemblies. It's become the site of a turning point. The vote is done, but the impact lingers, a promise that things will not go back to the way they were. The applause fades, replaced by a hush that seems to stretch across the gym. Principal Landon steps forward, her expression carefully composed. She extends her hand to Khalil, the gesture stiff, fingers barely brushing his palm. The moment is captured by dozens of phones, the flash of cameras freezing their hands in midair. Khalil meets her gaze, his own steady and unflinching. He accepts the handshake, his grip firm, the contact brief but meaningful. Landon's hand is cold, her smile tight, but Khalil's warmth is unmistakable. For a second, the power dynamic is visible, her authority brittle. His dignity unshaken. Jada watches from the front row, pride shining in her eyes. Darnell nudges Marcus, whispering, "That's history right there." Teachers exchange glances, some relieved, others still wary. The board chair nods approvingly, recognizing the significance of the moment. Landon tries to reclaim composure, but her fingers tremble as she lets go. She forces a smile, turning to the audience. "Congratulations, Khalil," she says, her voice flat, the words more ritual than celebration. Khalil simply nods, letting his designs and his presence speak for him. The gym feels different now. The old rules loosened, the future open. The handshake, brief as it is, marks a transition one. Chapter closing, another beginning. Landon steps back, her posture rigid, her influence diminished. Khalil stands taller, the applause returning as students rise to their feet. As the crowd disperses, the image of their handshake lingers, a symbol of change, uneasy but real. Khalil's friends gather around him, their laughter and congratulations filling the space where tension once lived. Landon retreats to the edge of the stage, her role uncertain, her authority forever altered. The handshake is over, but its meaning endures, a quiet promise that tomorrow will look nothing like yesterday. The gym erupts as students rise, their voices swelling into a chorus of cheers that bounce off the walls and shake the banners overhead. The slogans about tradition and order now feel like relics, their meaning hollow in the face of this new energy. Khalil stands at the center, calm and composed, the eye of the storm. Jada's laughter rings out, bright and unrestrained, as she joins the chant. Darnell's fists pump the air, his pride unmistakable. Teachers exchange looks, some smiling, others biting their lips, caught between hope and uncertainty. The principal retreats, her steps quick and uneven, swallowed by the shadows backstage. The Roar is both a funeral dirge and a birth cry. It marks the end of an era defined by silence and exclusion, and the beginning of one shaped by courage and inclusion. Khalil's quiet strength anchors the moment, his presence a testament to the power of dignity over noise. A student near the back raises a handmade sign, its message simple but powerful: "We belong here." The camera lingers on the sign, then pans to the crowd, faces alight with determination and hope. The gym feels alive, charged with possibility. The air vibrates with the energy of change, a palpable shift that seems to ripple through every corner of the room. Students who once felt invisible now stand tall, their voices joining in a unified call for respect and recognition. The banners sway gently, the old order shaken but not yet gone. As the cheers fade, a hush settles not of defeat, but of reflection. Khalil's gaze sweeps the room, a silent promise in his eyes. The future is uncertain, but it is theirs to shape. The weight of history presses lightly, but the promise of tomorrow feels heavier, more urgent. The scene closes on Khalil's steady breath, the sound steady and sure, a quiet heartbeat in the midst of change. Around him, the crowd begins to disperse, their footsteps echoing with the rhythm of a new beginning. The gym empties slowly, the echoes of voices lingering like a soft refrain. A reminder that this moment is just the start. Principal Landon leans against a locker, the cold metal pressing into her back. The muffled cheers from the gym feel distant, like echoes from a world she no longer controls. Her reflection in the polished surface is fractured, a mask of authority slipping away with every passing second. Her fingers tremble as she unlocks her phone, scrolling through old emails that once praised her discipline and leadership. Now, every congratulatory message feels like an accusation, each word a reminder of the power she's lost. She swallows hard, her breath catching in her chest. The weight of unraveling authority settling deep in her bones. A teacher walks by, casting a quick, uncertain glance her way. Landon turns her face, avoiding eye contact, her usual confidence replaced by a quiet desperation. The hallway feels narrower, the walls inching closer with every shallow breath. She presses a hand to the locker, trying to steady herself, but her hand shakes. Betraying the turmoil inside, the silence is heavy, filled with the truth she can no longer deny. Her eyes flicker to the door, leading back to the gym, the source of the cheers, the shift she cannot stop. She hesitates, unable to return, unable to move forward. Her phone buzzes with another message, a reminder of the calls and emails piling up. The mounting pressure from above and below, she closes her eyes, letting the moment wash over her. The camera lingers on her face, the subtle twitch of an eye, the slump of her shoulders. The principal who once commanded every room, now small and exposed. The hallway, once her domain, feels foreign and cold. The scene closes with Landon standing alone, surrounded by the echoes of change. Her quiet unraveling is witnessed by no one, but it is complete. The reign has ended, not with a confrontation, but with a slow, silent collapse. Khalil sits on the front steps of the school as the sun dips low. Sketchbook balanced on his knees, the gym's noise is only a memory now, replaced by the quiet shuffle of students heading home. His friends gather around, their laughter softer, their energy spent but satisfied. Khalil flips to a clean page, pencil poised, the weight of the day settling into his shoulders. Jada drops her backpack beside him, peering over his shoulder. "Are you drawing the next big thing?" she asks, her voice teasing but gentle. Khalil smiles, sketching the outline of a jacket in new design, bold and hopeful. This time, he adds a detail he's never tried before. A navy stripe, a nod to the principal's old suit, transformed into something fresh. Darnell crouches down, watching the lines take shape. "That's cold, man. You're making history." Khalil shrugs, but his eyes are bright, just trying to make it better for whoever comes next. Marcus leans against the railing, arms folded, pride in his grin. "You already did." A younger student approaches, clutching a notebook. "Can you show me how you do that?" Khalil nods, motioning him closer. "Start with what feels right. Don't let anyone tell you it's wrong." The boy's eyes widen, hope flickering in his smile as the last students trickle out. Khalil tears the new sketch from his book and hands it to the boy. "This one's for you. Make it yours." The gesture is quiet but powerful, a passing of the torch. a promise that change doesn't end here. The sun sets, casting long shadows across the steps. Khalil stands his friends at his side, the school behind him forever changed. The future is unwritten, but tonight it feels possible. The last sketch flutters in the breeze, a symbol of what's been won and what's still to come. Students fill the corridors in Khalil's design's bold colors, modern cuts, pride stitched into every seam. The atmosphere is lighter, laughter more frequent, as if the walls themselves have loosened their grip. Old banners are quietly replaced with new ones, celebrating diversity and unity. The uniforms are more than clothing now. They're a symbol of transformation. Worn with dignity and quiet triumph, Jada walks beside Khalil, her earrings matching the vibrant patterns on her blouse. She nudges him with a grin. "We did it," she says softly, her voice threaded with disbelief and pride. Marcus strolls past, his custom vest impossible to miss. "They can't write us all up," he murmurs, confident in his tone. Darnell leans against a locker, nodding at each new arrival. "This is just the beginning," he says, hope flickering in his eyes. Teachers watch from doorways, some frowning, others smiling. Ms. Fields offers a subtle thumbs up as Khalil passes, her approval quiet but unmistakable. Mr. Chen hesitates, his gaze lingering on the wave of color before quietly stepping aside. The tension is real, but so is the sense of community. Each student in Khalil's designs is a brushstroke in a living mural of resistance and renewal. Younger students trail behind, her laughter rising above the usual shuffle of feet. One girl twirls, her skirt spinning like a flag. Khalil catches her eye, and she beams, unafraid. The whispers that once followed him are replaced by awe and admiration. The energy in the halls shifting from suspicion to celebration. The administration scrambles, unsure how to respond. The principal's voice crackles over the intercom, but the students don't flinch. They walk to class, shoulders squared, their unity louder than any announcement or warning could ever be. By lunchtime, the halls have changed. What started as a protest has become a celebration of identity, of courage, of a refusal to disappear. Khalil glances around, hope swelling in his chest. Today, the halls belong to them. Principal Landon sits alone at her desk, the office unusually. Still, the walls, once lined with awards and certificates, seem to close in, their shine dulled by the shifting tide outside. She scrolls through photos on her computer past assemblies, smiling faces, her own image at the center of every group. Today, her name is missing from the new banners in the hall, replaced by words like unity and belonging. She glances out the window, watching students in vibrant uniforms pass by, their laughter drifting up through the glass. The pride she once felt in her authority is replaced by a hollow ache. Each student in Khalil's designs is a reminder of what she tried to hold back, what she can no longer control. Her fingers hover over the keyboard, unsure whether to send another memo or simply close the screen. A knock at the door startles her. It's Ms. Fields, dropping off a stack of forms. "Just leave them there," Landon says, her voice softer. Then she intends. Ms. Fields hesitates, then sets the papers down, offering a gentle nod before leaving. The door clicks shut, and Landon is alone again, surrounded by the quiet that once brought her comfort but now feels like a verdict. She picks up an old yearbook, flipping through pages of students she disciplined, faces she barely remembers. The rules she enforced seem distant, almost irrelevant now. Her authority, once unquestioned, has faded into the background, replaced by a new sense of progress she cannot claim as her own. As the afternoon sun shifts, Landon closes her laptop and leans back in her chair. The office, once a symbol of her power, now feels like a relic. She listens to the muffled sounds of celebration in the halls, knowing the world has moved on without her. For the first time, she feels the true cost of holding on too tightly and the quiet freedom in finally letting go. The school auditorium buzzes with a different kind of energy as families gather for the community event. Khalil's mother stands near the refreshment table, unsure where to place her hands. She's used to watching from the sidelines, her pride kept quiet, her support for Khalil a private strength. Tonight, though, the spotlight finds her. Parents approach, faces open and grateful. One mother, eyes shining, reaches out. "Thank you for raising him," she says, voice trembling with emotion. Another father offers a handshake, his grip warm and sincere. "Your son gave our kids something to believe in." Khalil's mother manages a smile, overwhelmed by the kindness. The relief of being seen after so many years of standing in the background. Jada's mother hugs her, whispering, "You're part of this too." The applause that follows is soft but persistent, a wave of recognition that washes over Khalil's mother and settles deep in her chest. For once, she isn't just Khalil's ride home or the woman who hemmed his first jacket, she is a pillar. Honored for her resilience and faith, Khalil stands nearby, watching the scene unfold. He catches his mother's eye, and their shared look is full of unspoken gratitude. She wipes a tear, then straightens, her posture proud. The community's thanks is more than polite words. It's a long overdue acknowledgement of the sacrifices. She made the night spent encouraging Khalil to keep going when the world told him to stop. As the evening continues, more parents gather around, sharing stories of how Khalil's designs inspired their own children to stand taller. The room feels lighter, the boundaries between families blurred by a common sense of hope. Khalil's mother laughs, her voice ringing clear, the applause echoing in her ears. Tonight, she is seen. Tonight, she belongs. The recognition is quiet, but a stronger reminder that change is built not just by those on stage, but by those who lift them up from behind the scenes. The district auditorium glows with anticipation as teachers, families, and administrators gather for the annual awards night. Rows of polished chairs filled with nominees and their supporters, the hum of conversation laced with excitement. Principal Landon sits near the aisle, hands folded in her lap, posture straight, her name printed neatly in the program. She scans the list of categories, her eyes pausing on leadership in education, a title she's grown used to hearing. The ceremony begins, each award announced with applause and flashes of cameras. Colleagues are called to the stage, Ms. Fields for counseling, Mr. Chen for innovation, even a first-year teacher for community outreach. Landon claps politely, her smile practiced, but her eyes flicker with unease as her name is passed over. Again and again. When the final award is announced, the superintendent's voice rings out for inspiring a culture of inclusion and hope. This year's honor goes to the student design team and their mentor, Ms. Fields. The room erupts. In cheers, Khalil and his friends stand, beaming as they accept the plaque. Ms. Fields hugs them, tears in her eyes, the applause swelling around them. Landon sits motionless, her hands tightening around the program. The omission is unmistakably a public reckoning for private choices. She forces a smile as the camera pans her way, but the disappointment is raw. Around her, teachers exchange glances, some sympathetic, others satisfied. The applause for the winners is a quiet verdict, a signal that the community has chosen new leaders as the ceremony ends. Landon lingers in her seat, watching the crowd gather around Khalil and Ms. Fields. She stands, smoothing her skirt, and slips out a side door, her footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. The night air is cool, the sounds of celebration fading behind her. For the first time, her influence is absent, her legacy replaced by a new standard one she can no longer claim. Khalil sits at the kitchen table, the envelope from the youth summit resting in his hands. The room is still, the weight of the invitation pressing into his palms. His mother stands in the doorway, pride and hope shining in her eyes. Her presence a steady reassurance after so many uncertain nights. "You got it?" she says softly, her voice steady but thick with emotion. Khalil nods, a small smile breaking through the tension in his jaw. It means they see you, they hear you. He carefully opens the letter, reading the words aloud, each sentence deliberate. The invitation promises a platform, a chance to share his story and vision with a wider world. The room feels charged, the air alive with possibility and nerves. Jada leans over his shoulder, her voice a whisper meant only for him. "This is your moment. Don't let them silence you." Khalil's gaze grows sharper, determination flickering. In his eyes, "I won't. This is bigger than me now." His mother steps forward, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "We're with you, every step," she says, her conviction a shield against doubt. Later, Khalil stands in front of the bathroom mirror, practicing his speech. His voice is steady, his words clear, each rehearsal a small victory over the storm. He's weathered, He remembers every hallway, every stair, every time he was told to shrink. Now, his story is his own, to tell loud, proud, and unfiltered. The scene lingers on Khalil's face, calm, resolute, ready. The invitation is more than just paper. It's a beacon, a call to change, a promise that his voice will no longer be pushed aside. Outside, the city hums, a reminder that the fight for dignity and respect stretches far beyond these four walls. Khalil folds the letter, hope and purpose settling in his chest. Tomorrow, his voice will carry farther than ever before. The art room hums with quiet excitement as Khalil spreads his sketches across the wide table. Sunlight spills through the windows, illuminating the bold lines and vibrant colors that have become his signature. Younger students gather around, eyes wide with admiration, their notebooks open. Pencils poised to follow his lead. Khalil demonstrates a technique, his movements confident and patient. "Start with what matters to you," he says, guiding a trembling hand across the page. A sixth grader, shy but eager, glances up. "How do you know when it's right?" Khalil smiles, remembering his own doubts. "When it feels honest, when you're not trying to copy anyone else." Ms. Fields watches from the doorway, pride softening her features. She sees the way the room has changed, once silent, now alive. With possibility, a mural in progress covers the far wall, each section painted by a different student, each story woven into the next. Khalil's influence is everywhere, in the confidence of their lines, the courage in their colors, the way they encourage each other to take risks. JADA pops in, dropping off a box of new markers. "You're building an army in here," she jokes, winking at Khalil. He laughs, but his gaze is serious as he looks at the younger kids. "You're all artists. Don't let anyone tell you differently." The students nod, soaking in the validation. Teacher from another department stops by, pausing to admire the sketches. "You've started something, Khalil. They believe because you believed first." Khalil shrugs, humility in his posture. "I just wanted to show them it was possible." As the bell rings, the students gather their things. Lingering by the door, one turns back, clutching a half-finished drawing. "Will you look at mine tomorrow?" Khalil nods, his promise genuine. The art room empties, but the energy remains a legacy of inspiration. A blueprint for courage and self-expression that will outlast any uniform or rule. The school board gathers in the evening. The conference room filled with anticipation and a hint of unease. Papers shuffle, laptops glow, and the new draft of the dress code sits at the center of the table. The language is different. Now words like expression, inclusion, and respect woven throughout, replacing the old lines about conformity and discipline. Ms. Fields, invited to speak, addresses the board with measured confidence. This isn't just about clothes, it's about recognizing every student's dignity. Her words hang in the air, met with thoughtful nods and a few skeptical glances. A student representative, wearing one of Khalil's designs, stands to ADD. "We want to feel seen. These changes matter." The superintendent reviews the document, his tone more open than before. "We're not just updating policy, we're changing how we see each other." The vote is called. Hands rise around the table, some hesitant, others certain. The motion passes and a quiet sense of relief settles over the room. News spreads. Quickly, Khalil hears it first from Jada, her text buzzing with excitement. "It's official, you did it." In classrooms and hallways, students read the new guidelines, surprised by the sudden shift. Marcus grins, slapping Khalil on the back. "No more hiding who we are." Teachers gather in the staff room, discussing the implications. Some are wary, others hopeful. Ms. Fields smiles quietly, knowing the groundwork has been laid for something lasting. The old rules are archived, tucked away in a drawer, replaced by a policy that celebrates individuality and makes room for every voice. Khalil walks the halls, noticing the difference not just in what students wear, but in how they carry themselves. The change is quiet but profound, a foundation for equity built on courage and persistence. The system has shifted, not with noise, but with steady, determined action. Khalil steps into the hallway, the new uniform fitting him like a second skin bold, colors, sharp lines, and his name stitched quietly inside the collar. Students greet him with nods and smiles, their own clothes reflecting the freedom his designs have brought. The banners overhead now read unity and belonging. The old slogan's gone. He moves through the crowd, every glance and handshake a silent acknowledgement of what's changed. Jada falls beside him, her laughter bright, her pride unmistakable. "You see this?" she says, gesturing at the sea of color. "You did this." Khalil shakes his head, humility in his eyes. "We all did." Teachers watch from open classroom doors, some offering quiet waves, others simply letting the moment unfold. Ms. Fields stands at the end of the hall, her approval clear in her gentle smile. Younger students follow Khalil's path, their curiosity and admiration plain. One boy, wearing a jacket just like Khalil's, catches up and asks, "Can I design something next year?" Khalil grins. "You'd better." As he passes the office, Principal Landon glances up from her desk. Their eyes meet for a brief moment, no animosity, just a mutual understanding that the world has moved on. She nods once, and Khalil nods. Back, the gesture small but real, the school's website now features Khalil's story, his sketches, and the journey that changed everything. Students pause to read the new plaque in the lobby. Change doesn't roar. Sometimes it walks the halls, wearing something new. Khalil's steps are steady, his presence woven into the fabric of the school. The transformation is complete, not just in what students wear, but in how they see themselves and each other. The final walk isn't a victory lap. It's a quiet promise that the future belongs to those who dare to remake it.